Okay, perfect. So we are going to use the chat box today. So can you just all open your chat box, and I will be keeping an eye on this as we go through. And the first fun fact, and I will share quite a few facts with you today, is that the more you participate in this lesson, your impact will increase. And it is stated that if you participate in lessons and you get involved, your impact will increase by around 25%. So hopefully you all get involved in this lesson today. So really, I know you're all busy, but if you can try and switch off your notifications for the next sort of 50 minutes to 60 minutes, that would be great. So this is a very powerful statement, and it's one that I truly believe that when you grow, everyone grows. So when you invest in you and your development, it's not just you who benefits, it's everyone around you. So whether that's anyone in your home life, that's anyone in your team, anyone in your company, anyone that you're surrounded by, everyone benefits whenever you grow. So the first question I'm going to ask you, just to make sure that the chat box is working and you all have access to it, is how long do you think it takes to regain focus after you've been interrupted throughout the day? So say somebody comes over, taps you on the shoulder and interrupts you from what you're working on. Say you're really focused on a task, but somebody comes over, they interrupt you, 15 minutes of 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, 15. I haven't seen the right answer yet. So let me see if there's any others that want to stab 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah, 20 minutes. There was a couple of 20 minutes there. Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, it actually suggests that it's 23 minutes is what on average it says that it takes to regain focus. So just think about how many interruptions that we all get throughout the day. I'm sure you all get lots. I get lots notifications, your phone binging something, you're maybe looking at something and then something catches your attention or somebody comes in and interrupts you. So it's just important to think about that whenever you are working throughout the day and have focus sprints and times where you're not interrupted throughout the day. So that's great. Depends on what I was doing. Very good. Okay, so at least I now know that the chat box is working and you're all using it. So that's fantastic. So we'll kick off the session. And the topic today that we're going to discuss is effective communication. And the topics and the tips that I gave you today, you'll be able to use them in every aspect of your life. So you're able to use them with your staff, with your colleagues, with your customers, with your friends, and with your family. So it really will impact every area of your life. So do you think you're a good communicator? And you don't need to put the answer into the chat box, but the answer to that question is probably yes. Because you're probably in a position of authority and you're maybe a leader in your business. So you probably have very effective communication skills. But like most things in life, the more you study them and the more you practice them, the better you can get at them. And why is communication important in leadership? Well, a leader is someone who inspires positive incremental change by empowering those around them to work towards common objectives or common goals. And a leader's most powerful tool for doing this is communication. So communication is vital to gain trust and align efforts towards the pursuit of goals and what you're trying to achieve within your company. Effective communication will also inspire positive change and innovation. When communication is lacking, however, important information can be misinterpreted, and this can often cause relationships to suffer and ultimately create barriers towards progress. So I have another question for you. Do you think communication is more of an art or more of a science? And you can put your answers into the chat box, so I'd love to hear from you. Do you think communication is more of an art or more of a science? Brilliant. So we have a few arts, a lot of boths. Art, both. Okay, science, somebody with the science, both. Art, but by numbers. Okay, I like that one. Very good. Okay, so yeah, you're all right. It is actually both. Not only do great communicators have a firm grasp on the mechanics of communication and use science-based formula to combine facts, figures, logic, and behavioral science, they also engage with people, and effective communication also means that you need to tap into the creative side of people's brains and use emotional intelligence to strike that rapport and build that trust-based relationship. So this is one of the most memorable communications that there ever was. And it was a speech given by Martin Luther King, "I have a dream." And this speech was more of an artistic endeavor than a scientific one because it creates a feeling. And another great example of great communication is this quote. And this is actually my favorite quote. I love this quote, and it's by Maya Angelou. And she says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And it's really the creative, artistic elements within these statements or speeches that make them so powerful. Because you actually feel something when you hear words communicated like this. And do you know, does anyone know why you feel something? So the reason is, whenever we're communicating, you're communicating with and connecting with people's conscious mind. You're not only connecting with people's conscious mind, you're also connecting with their subconscious emotional mind. And therefore, you'll be more inclined to remember them. And the reason for this is whenever we communicate, we're actually communicating on 3 different levels. And the 3 different levels that we communicate in are these. We communicate consciously through the words, gestures, and writing. We communicate subconsciously via the vibrations or the energy that we're giving out. And we're communicating physically through your actions. So those are the 3 ways that we communicate. And what that means is whenever we communicate, we're actually communicating both verbally and non-verbally. So gestures, poses, and postures and non-verbal communications and expressions usually express subtle signals to people whenever we're communicating. And these non-verbal cues can present to the listener very important insights into a person's thoughts and into a person's feelings. So I have another question for you. What percentage of communication do you think is done through verbal communication, the words we speak? So type your answers into the chat box. I'd love to hear. Okay, 10%, 30%, 30, 25, 15, 40, 50, 20, 10. Okay, I haven't seen the right answer yet. 20, 45, okay. Okay, so those of you who guessed 10 are the closest. Okay, so this is a graph that you will probably remember after today, because once I seen this, I remembered it. And those of you that had quite high numbers may be shocked to know that behavioral psychologist Dr. Mabraham, he done extensive research into the topic of body language and communication, and he indicated through numerous sources that only 7% of communication is done through verbal communication, the words we speak. Whereas non-verbal communication and the component of our daily communication is 38% through tonality of our voice and 55% through the person's body language and facial expressions. So I'm going to get very animated because I want to effectively communicate to everyone on this call. But it's really interesting that, you know, your body language, your tone of voice, your facial expressions have a huge impact whenever you're communicating with people. So whenever you're communicating effectively, the message that you send out verbally on the conscious level through words must be in harmony with the feelings that you express non-verbally on the subconscious level. And this is because there's 2 parts to your mind. There's 2 main parts to your mind, your conscious thinking mind and your subconscious emotional mind. And whatever you're feeling subconsciously, you will non-verbally transmit to the person you're speaking to, whether you're aware of that or not. The other person will always pick up on your feelings, whether you're consciously aware of that or not. So I'm going to give you an example. If you know that your husband and wife is annoyed about something, or your partner, and you ask them, are you okay? And they say yes, but really they're not. Can you usually pick this up? I'm seeing nods. You usually can pick it up. And you usually pick it up through your intuition. So you can usually pick up how somebody's feeling. Similarly, if you've had a really, really bad day at work and you go home and somebody asks you, are you okay? They probably are aware that maybe you had a bad day at work even before you say that you had a bad day at work or whatever. So people pick up through other people's nonverbal cues through your intuition. Similarly, if you're in work and you're having a meeting with one of the members of your team and you ask them to do a certain task and they say they're happy to do it, but you can pick up an energy or a vibe that maybe they're not that okay with it. They really don't want to do it. Can you usually tell? And the answer will be yes, you usually can tell. And this is because, again, you're picking up on their energy because they're giving off, unconsciously, they're giving off that information, and you pick that up through your intuition. Your intuition is a very powerful thing. So the fact that we communicate on 3 different levels is particularly important for sales teams to understand. Because if you're trying to sell to a prospect and they're hearing words that say, I want to help you, but the feelings that they're picking up from the salesperson is, I have to make this sale, I have to make this sale. And if they're thinking that inside, what happens is that this dual messaging causes conflict or confusion, and that actually stalls the sales process. So it's very important that if you're in sales, that you have to be thinking, I want to help this person, and thinking that on the inside too, not I want to make this sale, or I have to make this sale, or I need to close this, because whatever you're thinking internally in your subconscious will also be picked up by the person that you're speaking to. And that's why research indicates that you should smile whenever you're selling on a phone or on a video call, and people who do that get better results because people can even pick that up through the phone. So it's something there that there's research behind that. So there's a theory which I'm sure most of you have heard about, and this is that people are mostly left-brained or right-brained, meaning that one side of the brain is more dominant than the other. And this theory first came to light in the 1960s, thanks to the research by psychobiologist and Nobel Prize winner Roger W. Sperry. And he discovered that the brain's hemispheres function differently. And if you're more analytical or methodical in your thinking, then the theory says you're more left-brained. And if you tend to be more creative or artistic, then it says you tend to be more right-brained. So I'll show you a diagram that will help with this. So the left-brained is more verbal, analytical, and more orderly than the right-brained. So if you tend to be left-brained, this will help you with logic, sequencing, linear thinking, mathematics, facts, thinking in words, that type of thing. And the right brain, it tends to be more intuitive and more visual. So it's more creative and less organized way of thinking. And the right brain, it helps people with imagination, holistic thinking, intuition, arts, rhythm, nonverbal cues, feelings and visualization, and daydreaming. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this today. And firstly, I want you just on a piece of paper beside you, don't share it in the chat box. I want you to write down which side of the brain you think is your most dominant. And then I'm going to ask a couple of you from the group to put your hand up and get involved. So hopefully we'll have a number of people that will put their hand up and get involved today. And then I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, say what your job is, and maybe one sentence about, what you do. And then the rest of the group, we're going to try and guess in the chat box whether we think you're more left-brained or more right-brained. Sometimes it's very obvious, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes, people are not quite sure because maybe some people are a little bit more of both. So we'll start with me just to kick this off. So you have heard a little bit about me, and Dean's given a lovely introduction at the start. So do you think I am more left-brained or more right-brained? What would you think? Yeah. Okay, so loads of right brains, and there's one left, but yes, the majority has it. I am definitely more right-brained. I have a background in marketing and creative things. I love creating and so on. So I would tend to be more right-brained. So yes, well done, everyone. So the first nominee we're going to have today is Dean. Because I prepped Dean before the call just to make sure that we would have somebody that would definitely get involved. And if I ask just while Dean's going to give his introduction, if anybody would like to get involved, and I hope a couple of you do, because it just makes it a bit more fun, if you just put up your hands. So if you go even to where is it? There's a function on the top, and you can just put your hand up, raise your hand, and then a few of you can get involved. So Dean, do you want to just sort of maybe just say a little bit of an introduction again, just and we'll guess what we think Dean is then as well.
Yeah, well, I said a bit about my IOD involvement at the beginning, but in terms of profession, strategy and planning, I think, would be the one-liner, which I guess might give a bit of a clue, although there's a sort of possibly a bit of a contradiction there. The only other thing I'd say is I have done it over the last sort of 10, 15 years in the higher education sector primarily, and also within various government departments and an international development bank that was kind of sponsored by governments. So I guess that might, I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I guess that might give you enough to be going on with.
Okay, well, I've seen mostly left, but I did see a right in there as well. Okay, the majority, I went the left. I think the majority are going lefting. Can a person be both? Good question, and they can, but you tend to be a little bit of both. And what I'm going to suggest is that anyone, I have a short questionnaire that I can send you a link to a short questionnaire. So after this, if anyone is thinking, I don't know, just send me an email. I'll give you my email address at the end, and I'll send you a link to a questionnaire that will be able to determine which side is your most dominant. So yes, I think, Dean, everybody, the majority has went left. Do you want to disclose or?
Well, I think they must be right. I'd like to kind of see myself on that right side, and sometimes there's the flashes when you're doing like the, devising strategy. But then when you're into like implementing it, and given the sectors I mentioned, I think the right answer is probably left.
Left. Yeah, I think you're definitely left, I have to say. But you probably have elements of both, and everybody does. So that was a great question there as well. So William had his hand up, but he took it down. I don't know if that was a question or if he would like to get involved. William, yes, brilliant, William. Are you going to take part? Brilliant.
Oh, hi, yeah, I can get involved. My internet connection is a little poor. I'm probably fairly obvious, but I'll try and throw you off the scent. So when I was young, I was quite musical and I enjoyed acting. And I've always been able to spin a decent yarn. However, I'm an accountant who's specialised in FP&A.
Okay, what do you think about William?
I'm pretty certain that the left have got this, but maybe I like to think a little bit more central.
Yeah, and definitely with your background in the creative arts, that would definitely be, more right. So you're probably a mixture of both, but I think with your job as an accountant working with numbers daily, you're probably more into, and even reading music and the rhythm is quite, you need numbers and all for that as well. So yeah, brilliant. But I think you should probably do the test after. I will definitely send you the link.
I look forward to it.
Oh,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Thank you for taking part, William. I really appreciate it. Is there one other person who would like to try and have a go? Okay, Mark, brilliant. We'll go with Mark and then we'll move on. Hi, Mark.
Hi there. My name's Mark. I live in Jersey. I work in financial services, specifically in the sort of the fund management sector, and I've done that for most of my adult career.
Okay, what do we think? Yeah, quite a few lefts, Mark. Well, would you confirm that? Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Albeit there's definitely a creative side to my role, but I would definitely I'm right-handed, so left-brained, and it's more the logical planning side that probably associate with.
Fantastic. Well, I did this session for it's about 150 accountants, and yeah, there was 93%. We were left-brained. No surprise there. So people who tend to work with finance and numbers do tend to be more left-brained, so more analytical, and they're very sort of structured in terms of what they're doing. And people who work in marketing and more creative roles do tend to be more right-brained. However, some people are a little bit in between, and we do use both parts of our brain. There's no doubt about it. But yes, anybody who's still wondering, I will send you the quiz at the end if you just drop me a message, and I can send that on to you. So thank you for taking part. I hope you enjoyed that. But nonetheless, to be an effective communicator, it's important that you do know your audience and your team members and your colleagues, and try to understand whether they are predominantly left-brained or right-brained, as this will really help you approach the conversation that you have with them, whether that's in a meeting or whether you're trying to provide information to them. So a left-brained person, they will prefer to have a very structured conversation with lots of facts and figures, whereas a right-brained person, they will prefer a more casual approach. with more images and a conversation that includes feelings, creativity, and maybe storytelling. And you should consider whenever you're communicating in your one-to-ones with your team or with your colleagues, how they want to be communicated with. My last manager, he was very left-brained. So whenever I was communicating with him, even though I'm more right-brained, I always included stats, figures, facts, graphs, to show how things were adding value. So if you're communicating to a large audience, it would be a good idea to include content that resonates with both. So, you know, if you are speaking to a large audience, try and include some facts, figures, but also include some storytelling and some creative elements to your talk that you're doing. There's 5 main ways to grab the attention of an audience. So I'm not sure in the roles that you're in, if you do have to speak to large audiences, but I'm sure some of you do. So if you are speaking to a large audience, there's 5 key ways, I believe, that you can really grab attention. So the first one is to pause. So there's an immense power in a pause. At the beginning of a presentation, or whenever you start to do your speech, stand and say nothing. Because people aren't used to silence. In this busy world, they're not. So if you pause, it will grab people's attention. Another way to grab attention is to tell a story. We're all hardwired for stories. We love a story. And if you can tell a story that resonates with the communication you're trying to put forward, people will remember that. Another way is to use a proactive stat or quote, something that people will remember. So that Maya Angelou quote, I love that. I'll always remember that. I have a dream. Everybody knows that speech. So if you use a provocative story or quote, people will remember that. Engage in activity. So I just got you to engage in an activity. So again, that's another way to try to communicate effectively and get people involved. And the final one is to emotionally connect, get people to feel something. And I'm going to show you a video at the end of this presentation today, which will hopefully get you to feel something and connect with this session today. So I have another question for you. How many people on this call work in sales? So if you want to just put a yes in the chat box if you work in sales, or a no if you don't work in sales. Yep, no. Okay. Okay. So we've got quite a few no's and a few yeses. So I have to say that everybody on this call should be putting in a yes. Because if you're working for a company, what you do, and no matter what area you do it in within that company, you're contributing to the sales and the reputation of that business. So whether you're directly contributing or indirectly contributing, everyone in the business affects sales. So whether you're in customer service, whether you're in the finance team, whether you're in senior management, whether you're in production, you're making whatever it is that people are going to sell, all impact on sales. So it's important that whenever you're thinking of yourself within the company, that whatever you do, no companies exist without sales. A company doesn't exist if it doesn't have sales. So everybody in an organization should really see them as part of an organization that's helping to drive forward the sales within the business. Does anyone know whose logo this is? Any ideas? No, it's not Nissan. Close. Toyota. Very good, William. Okay, great. Yeah, people are getting it. Okay. So Toyota is a company who have used the left brain, right brain communication strategy extremely well to enhance their sales and become one of the best companies in the world. When a person enters their car showroom, the sales team in Toyota are trained to ask a number of specific questions to determine whether that person is more left-brained or whether they're more right-brained. And the answers to those questions actually determine the route that they take the car on the test drive. So for the left-brain person, well, we'll do the right-brain person first. So for the right-brain person, they would focus on the aesthetics of the car. They would focus on the color, the interior, the feel of the steering wheel, the comfort of the car. And then they would take the driver through a beautiful rural area with lovely, lovely views. And they would talk to the person about how the car feels to drive, the comfort of the car, the features of the car, like the sunroof or the heated seats. And they would play lovely, relaxing music. And they would ask questions like, could you imagine yourself driving this car? And if it's a right brain or a left brain person, then they would focus on the performance features of the car. So they would take them through a test drive through a town or a city, and they would demonstrate all the technical features of the car, such as the power, the speed, and the displays. They would talk about facts like the engine size, the wheels, the road surface, the conditions, and they would refer to special features within the car, like the air conditioning system. And they would ensure that there was a motorway on the way back to the showroom to demonstrate the speed and acceleration of the car. And this approach enabled them to tailor their products and services to align with customer preferences, resulting in an enhanced customer experience. So they cleverly deliver a personalized customer experience to meet every customer's unique requirements. And Toyota have also now incorporated this strategy into their digital marketing campaigns to target potential customers based on their likes. So I'm going to show you a short video, and it's called Just Like You. And Toyota actually made 100,000 videos of this one video, variations of it, and it's for a RAV4 hybrid. And they've got individual targeted messages, which makes it one of the most personalized video campaigns in the world.
Hey there, you're an individual and so is everyone else. And this is all the stuff that makes each of us unique. But if we're all unique, why does advertising treat us like the same person? It shouldn't. Like you, the RAV4 Hybrid is also pretty unique. It's the only compact hybrid SUV on the market after all. So we wanted to prove it's just as unique as you. Introducing RAV4U. 100,000 unique personalized videos designed to be relevant to every kind of RAV4 driver. Starring this guy. Everyone has different interests, and Facebook tells us who's into what. For example, some RAV4 people are into martial arts and cooking. Others are into marathons and concerts. With Facebook's interest data and a unique editing technique, we created 100,000 videos. Here's how. We started with an intro clip based on the viewer's interest.
If you have an unrivaled passion for both martial arts and cooking, it's probably a combo that serves up a mean knuckle sandwich.
We matched it to a clip that highlighted a RAV4 feature.
It's a compact SUV and a hybrid.
And finished each video with some humor.
That's two awesome things in one, like a dog, but made of cats. What? RAV4!
Each beginning, middle, and end was written and filmed to be interchangeable, then algorithmically edited to create a huge number of unique films. Then those final videos were served to our individuals. For example, if you're a one-show digital judge, you're probably into technology. Here's one for you.
James Marsden appreciates your love of technology. The RAV4 Hybrid, it's all about tech, like its available integrated navigation system with 7-inch touchscreen. Now, if there were only a technology that could block these ads.
Actually, there is
There's not. RAV4!
The result is the world's most personalized video campaign, content designed to suit every driver.
Okay, so that is a smart marketing technique, but ultimately it's smart communication. As you're communicating to people in the way that they like to hear information based on market intelligence and insights, and therefore they're more likely to listen whenever they get served up an ad that really connects with them and resonates with them. So in your role as leaders, you may want to think of some questions that you could ask people so that you could tailor the communication and the conversation based on whether they're more right-brained or more left-brained or what interests that they have. So I'm just going to show you another video, and it's from the Latimer Group, and it explains 4 skills on how to deliver effective communication.
Great communication. There's a big topic. How do we communicate great in today's world? It's not easy. It's never been harder. The world we live in today moves fast. Attention spans are low. Everybody has enormous information at their fingertips. People don't listen very well anymore. It's hard to be heard in the 21st century. So how do we communicate really, really well in that kind of an environment? It's not easy, but we can make it easier for you. And here's how. Think about anybody that does anything at a very, very high level. Think about the singers, the actors, the dancers that you know. Think about the athletes that you know. And if you look closely at the way they have become very good at what they do, they all prepare in the same way. They all practice their skill in the same way. They break the skill down into smaller pieces. They improve their performance on each piece. They put all the pieces back together, and then all of a sudden, they're performing at a higher level. That's the way we want you to think about your communication skills. Let's break it down into smaller pieces. Communication is a big topic. Let's make it more manageable. We think communication comes down to 4 key skills. Number 1, how you assess situations, how you look at the world around you, your level of awareness, how well you listen. The better we are able to assess what's going on around us, the more likely we are to communicate in a way that's relevant to people. Number 2, message. How well do we build a message plan based on what we've learned? How do we put it together? What's most important? What do we include? What do we leave out? What do we lead with? The better we can build a message plan, the better we will communicate. Number 3, document. How well do we translate that message into whatever document we need on that day? Maybe it's an email, maybe it's a white paper or a memo, maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation. But how well do we take that message and then translate it into a document that's actually going to help us in that meeting, in that conversation? And number 4, deliver. How well do we deliver? How well do we speak? How well can we command attention with presence when we stand in front of the room, or when we lead the phone call, or when we participate in a conversation? Don't just think about your communication skills as this one big thing. It's actually 4 things. And your ability to, number 1, assess situations, number 2, build good message plans, number 3, translate that message into a document that helps, and number 4, deliver with confidence and presence. Think about each of those 4 skills, work on each one of those skills, put those skills back together, and then guess what? You're going to be communicating at a much higher level.
Okay, so some really useful information there. And to summarize, it's to properly assess the situation, create your message, decide on the best form of communication, and then deliver with confidence and presence. So I'm going to just give you now a number of tips, top tips to help you with effective communication. So the first one is to, and we've already discussed this sort of earlier in the session, adapt your communication style to your audience. Everybody's and every employee's motivations are different. So knowing how to tailor your communication to different groups within the company is essential for influencing others and helping you achieve the goals that you want to within your business. Active listening. So leaders know when to talk, but more importantly, they know when to listen. And show that you care by asking your employees for their opinions, their ideas, and their feedback. And when they do share, actively listen to them and engage in the conversation, pose questions and invite them to elaborate and take notes, because it does show you that you're actually listening to what they're saying. Transparency. So by speaking openly about your company's goals, the opportunities and the challenges, leaders will then build trust among your team, and it will help foster an environment where employees feel empowered to share ideas and collaborate. Every individual in a company should really know how they impact and the role they play in the company's success. And the more that we are transparent as leaders, the easier it will be for employees to make that connection. Clarity. So when communicating with employees and with your team, it's important to speak in specifics. So define the desired result of a project or initiative and be clear about what you want to achieve at the end of each milestone. The clearer you are, the less confusion there will be around priorities, and employees will know what they're working towards, and they'll be more engaged in the process as a result. The ability to ask open-ended questions. So if you want to understand an employee's motivations, their thoughts, their goals, it's important to practice asking open-ended questions. And by asking the right questions, you can elicit more thoughtful responses and ensure that you have clarity around what they need from you to succeed. Empathy is listed as one of the top leadership skills required for success. The better you get at acknowledging and understanding an employee's experiences and feelings, the more heard and valued they will feel. So if you want to improve your communication and build a stronger, more productive culture, then practice responding with empathy. And given the research earlier and the stats in the pie chart, the importance of open body language is really apparent whenever you're communicating. So whenever you are communicating effectively, think about your body language, think about how you're sitting. And if you're trying to inspire somebody, then make eye contact and establish that rapport and smile, and then convey that warmth and that trust to them. Receiving and implementing feedback. So asking for feedback from your team can not only help you grow as a leader, but will also help build trust among your colleagues. And it's critical that you don't just listen to feedback. If you can implement it and act upon it, then do. There will be times when you can't, but it's important then you give that feedback back to your team. So then they will know that they have been listened to and you're being transparent about it. And by letting your employees and your team know that they have been heard, then it does make them feel part of the team, and they will come forward with more ideas that maybe can be implemented in the future. So as we come sort of near the end of this session, I'm going to share a video with you, and it really demonstrates the power of words. And it's a video by Mohammed Quatani, and it's a very powerful video with some very impactful messages. And he actually won an award for this video. So I'm just going to start it right.
Please welcome our next contestant, Mohammed Quatani, The Power of Words.
Oh, sorry, apologies.
The Power of Words, Mohammed Quatani.
What? All you all think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody would say anything. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? It's your DNA. You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. This whole war against smoking is just to restrict the farming of tobacco. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up, with a group of my friends. And the results, 5 of them believed what I said. 2 of them started smoking. Words, when said and articulated in the right way, can change someone's mind. They can alter someone's belief. You have the power to bring someone from the slums of life and make a successful person out of them. Or destroy someone's happiness using only your words. Does that seem a bit too good to be true? A simple choice of word can make a difference between someone accepting or denying your message. You can have a very beautiful thing to say, but say it in the wrong words and phew, it's gone. I have a son who's 4, and he had this bad habit of writing on the walls with crayons. And one evening I walked into his room and he's going at it, just writing and drawing and so on, and I said, hey. Are you stupid? Don't you ever do that again. And guess what happened? He did it again. Nobody likes to be threatened. Nobody likes to be intimidated. His pride would not allow it. He did it again just to spite me. A week later, I walked into his room and again, he's going at it. And this time, he was even looking at me just. I came down and I said, sweetie, come here. Don't do that. You're a big boy now. And he never did it again. Because his pride wants him to be the big boy. Have you ever wondered why nobody cares about global warming, even though it's a very serious issue? It could kill all of us. Because when you go home and you flip on the TV and you see a scientist trying to talk about global warming, it goes something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from the graphs here, the statistics for 2014, it shows the water level is rising. This table shows that the monodioxide level in the third ozone layer is in a very alarming position. The message never get across. But most importantly, if you are a person who's a role model, if you're a person who's been admired, anything you say could be believed. Anything you utter could be taken as truth. My friend Nasser, he loved his father, idealized his father. He would do anything to make him happy. But his father was the kind of person who's not easy to impress. And year after year, Nasser tried, and his father was like, yeah. First year in college, Nasser got straight A's. And he thought to himself, this is it. This what will finally make my dad proud. He picked up the phone. He called his dad. Dad, I got straight A's. Are you proud? Please tell me you're proud, Father. Yeah, listen, son, I'll have to call you back. I'm busy. I'm busy was the single sentence that broke the camel's back. And he started drinking, doing drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Nasser, why? Why are you throwing your life away? If the one person in the world that I care about the most doesn't care, then why should I? And one evening I got the phone call. Nasser's in the emergency room, drug overdose. I rushed to that hospital. I saw him on that bed, and I saw that machine go beep, beep, beep. And I saw doctors try to bring him back to life. Clear! 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 It's clear that a single word could have saved this life. Words have power. Words are power. Words could be your power. You can change a life, inspire a nation, and make this world a beautiful place. Isn't that what we all wanted? Isn't that why we are all in this hall? Your mouth can spit venom, or it can mend a broken soul. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be our goal. Can't you, sir?
So I did say that I was going to show you a video that was hopefully going to emotionally connect. Words are powerful, and your words are very powerful. And words articulated in the right way can change lives. Mohammed's son had a very similar habit to my daughter Zara. When Zara was little, she would write on the walls. And instead of me saying to Zara, please don't do that, Zara, you know better. If I had said something like, Zara, you're a big girl now, big girls don't write on walls, then maybe she would have stopped writing on those walls sooner. And when you're having conversations with your team about their habits or something they maybe need to change, think about the words that you use that will emotionally connect with them. So maybe rather than saying, please don't do it, you know better. If somebody's constantly late, maybe have a conversation with them about how they want others to see them. Do they want to be seen as someone who is reliable, who's fully committed, who always shows up, who gives their best, who wants to progress in a position, be respected and be respectful of their team and their company? And then they will understand how important it is to be on time. So if you think about your words and how you use your words, and try and emotionally connect with people and think about how they will receive the words that you say, it can change conversation. And words are very, very powerful. And it could be a very different conversation to maybe the ones that you've had before, and very, very impactful. Communication is at the core of effective leadership. Excuse me. A bit of a croaky chest today. If you want to influence and inspire your team, make sure that you see your team and your colleagues and others in your life and think about how you communicate with them. And hopefully you can use the useful tips and hints throughout this session today to really help you think about your audience and communicate more effectively. So as we bring this session to a close, I'm going to leave you with the 5 C's of communication. So the 5 C's of communication are to be clear, cohesive, complete, concise, and concrete. So be clear about your message, be cohesive and stay on topic. Complete your idea with supporting content, be concise by eliminating unnecessary words, and be concrete by using precise words. And hopefully those 5 C's and the content throughout today will help you improve your communication techniques. So I'm going to leave you with a task today. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge, and I'd like you to, each one of you, to use your words today or this week to tell someone that they're doing a good job and that you appreciate them. So why not select someone in your personal life and someone in your professional world? So maybe in your personal life, it might be your family or your partner, maybe your kids, maybe your friend, maybe your parents. And your professional world, it may be your colleagues, it may be a supplier, maybe someone from another team or someone in your team. And tell them that you're doing, that they're doing a really great job and that you appreciate them. And I guarantee you it will make their day. But not only will it make their day, it will also help you to feel better too. So as we finish this session then, just to summarize, really we covered a lot today. We explored how we communicate. We explored that we communicate on 3 different levels. So we communicate consciously through your words, subconsciously through your thoughts and your feelings, and then physically through your actions. We also covered left brain, right brain theory, and then I give you lots of helpful and useful tips to help you to communicate more effectively. So I hope you don't mind, but I'm just going to take 1 or 2 minutes just to tell you a little bit more about really what I do within Become More and the Leadership Mindset program that I run. And whenever I have been doing lots of leadership programs in the past, a lot of what I had done really focused on strategy. But I have discovered over my life and through reading and so on that success in life is a large part to do with mindset as well as strategy. And there's loads of research out there. Some of it says as much as 95% mindset or 5% strategy. But there are surveys that were done by Harvard and Stanford University. With Stanford University, they said that success in life and in business is as much as 92% mindset and the rest strategy. And Harvard study said that it was 85% mindset. So regardless of what research study that you look at, it's clear that success is a huge part to do with mindset as well as strategy. So whenever I was developing my leadership mindset program, and it's called the Leadership Mindset Program, I do cover a lot to do with mindset as well as all the topics you could imagine within leadership. So I cover decision making, setting goals, habits, discipline, culture, environment, purpose, overcoming challenges, personality profiling, effective communication, which we've done today, high performance leadership, high performance teams, maximizing opportunities. So that's just to give you an overview of some of the lessons that are covered in the program. And really how it adds value is through a number of different ways, but I suppose the key one is convenience. The lessons are delivered in 60-minute sessions. They're impactful, but they're really designed for time-poor leaders who want to develop and grow. So 60-minute sessions weekly, maximum impact, minimum time. There is flexibility, the content's quality content, opportunity to network with like-minded leaders. There is a members portal that people and all my clients get into. All the lessons are in there, as well as all the recordings and everything like that. But I hope you can see today, I'm really passionate about delivering this kind of content, and I really care about it. I have lots of really great feedback, but I'll not go into any of that. But yeah, anybody who does the program really does love it. And I suppose I'll just finish with this statement. When you grow, everyone grows. Whenever you invest in you, it impacts everyone around you. And I really hope that you got something from today that you will really be able to implement. So I'll just finish off by giving you my details. I'd love to hear from anyone that would like some more information and set up a call and get to know a little bit more about you. My email address is there. It's maire@beecomemore.com, becomemore.com. And I'd love to speak to anyone who would like to get in touch. So finally, I'd just like to say a huge thank you for your participation today, for all of your interaction in the chat. It was absolutely brilliant. So many of you, everybody getting involved, putting their answers in, and that really does make it a great session. So thank you to all of you. And again, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to Dean and the team at the IOD for inviting me along today and letting me do this session. So thank you, everyone. I'm just going to bring this session to an end. It's gone 2 o'clock, and I'm sure you need to get back to whatever it is you're doing. So I'll bring the session to a close now, and thank you all for attending today. Bye, everyone. Bye.